Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Women Like Me Stories in Business. I'm your host, Julie Fairhurst. Now, today, I've been trying to get this lady on our podcast for a while, and we've finally done it today. So I'm super excited. We're going to be chatting with Lisa Ellis. Now, Lisa lives in Woodstock, Ontario, kind of an exciting place, and she's a writer. She's an author. She's working on a children's book right now, and she'll tell you a bit more about what she's up to. But she's also an author in the Women Like Me community, and she's been so um, what's the word I'm looking for? Participant. So she's been like really in there when a book opportunity to write, she jumps in there, and she's just been really helping our books to get out there and being just a wonderful asset to it because, well, you'll know when you hear her story. So, Lisa, thank you for finally getting on the podcast. I love it. Thank you for being here.
Yes. Good morning, Julie. Thank you. Thank you for having me here. I'm really happy to finally finally do this.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you.
Yes.
So Lisa, why don't you start a little bit because when there's a reason you started writing in the
Yes.
very beginning. When did you write your first book? Do you remember the year?
So I wrote my first book about the beginning of 2022.
Okay.
So I had an aunt who had MS, multiple sclerosis, and she passed on from multiple sclerosis like years ago. But I never thought of writing a book in the beginning, but then I kind of was like just kind of going through my grief thing like people do, and I started just thinking of her a lot. Like closer to that year, and then I thought, you know what, I started writing poems and then I decided, hey, I can actually make a book of this. So I just hold that close to my heart. So I was really close with my aunt. So I did a lot of like things with my aunt. I helped her with a lot of things. I went through her whole MS journey.
Mm.
So that just, yeah, is something that was heartfelt to me. And I just want to share it with the world because to help other people who are going through tough times, who are struggling, and just that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've read your story,
Thank you.
and yeah, it's very heartfelt. And I think it's so important that you've told it because, it's a common disease that people do have, but you're helping to shed light not only on the disease, but also on what it's like to be a caretaker and what it's like to have a loved one go through it.
Yes, it's so true. And I find just not everybody that knows, like, it's not, you don't hear as much about MS. Sadly, you should hear more about it. So, yeah, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of people that are aware, or enough
Yeah.
people maybe that are aware of it. And I named it, I wish I could hold your hand and help you stand, because my aunt, that captured my heart because my aunt went from, like, I see her gradually go downhill. So she
Mm,
went, like, she would use a cane and then a walker, and then she couldn't get out of bed, and then there was a point where, yeah, she couldn't get up. So I loved that. Like, I wish if I could just hold her hand, help her get up, but I couldn't. So
no.
so
Yeah.
that's the,
Oh,
but it's just to help out other people as well, and yeah, to let them know what people go through with an invisible illness that you don't always see.
yeah. Yeah. There's
Mhm.
one you wrote about your aunt's dog.
Yes.
I love
Oh yeah.
that. Well, I kind of love the story because of the dog. It was a bit sad, but do you want to tell us a little bit about that story and her dog? I think the part where she was lying and she was in the living room, I think, and she couldn't get up.
Yes, she couldn't. Yeah, so what it was she had a golden lab, and so the dog was always with my aunt, and a lot of times she'd be home alone. She'd have home care workers come and go, but if family couldn't be there during that time, she would be there, so they would leave her front end door unlocked so people could get in. So the one day she was in her living room, which normally she is, and she heard her door open, in her front door, which nobody, we never used her front door. So right away she knew that was kind of alarming. So she looked, and her door was open, and the man stood in front of the door, and she's like, "Can I help you?" And he's like, "Yeah, I know you're here alone." And her dog went like right at her. She's like, "Jesse," and the dog went right to the guy, and she's like, "You need to leave right now or I'm going to call the police." And he kind of, as soon as the dog went out, that well, then of course he kind of left after a couple times that the dog. But yeah, it was scary. So she called, and then from then on, they just kept the front door locked and
Yeah.
just the back door open.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it was kind of
Well, very, very scary, but I just love how the dog came to
yes.
her rescue. I just
And
love that.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dog was like that, and if the phone rang, she would say, "Jesse, pass mom the phone." And she would know to go and pick up the phone. It was a cordless phone, so she
Yeah.
would go and pick up the phone with her mouth and carry it to my aunt. And yeah, like
Oh,
yeah,
so
I just
was
thought
this
that was
was this a, so was the dog a service dog or she just knew
no,
that
yeah, she just knew, and she just trained her. She
oh,
got her from a puppy, and yeah, so it was
that
quite, yeah,
nice.
quite amazing how the
Yeah,
dog, like, more or less could have saved her life that day, actually, with that.
absolutely.
And
Absolutely. I
yeah,
just, scary, but just what I
yeah,
loved about it is just that the dog was there to just rescue her.
protect her.
Yeah,
Yes, it's
protect her.
true.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. So you also had to go through some trauma with your mom.
Yes, I did. So the year of 2022, it was March of 2022. My mom, she got a lump on her shoulder. So she thought she should get it checked. Well, she did, and come to find out, she had cancer. So
Mm.
under further testing, they found out it was lung cancer. So yes, so I still remember the day that my mom called, and she told me that, oh, like she went to the doctor, and the next day the doctor called and said, you need to come like right away. My mom was worried, but I said, just don't worry, just go hear what they have to say. So I remember I was at work, and she called me, and she said, like, my stepfather told me that my mom had some bad news, that it was lung cancer. And so then when they did further testing, she had to go to London, and when they found out, it was stage 4 lung cancer,
Mm.
so it was already terminal by the time they found out. So I remember the day my mom called, I was sitting at the kitchen table drinking my coffee, and she's like, "Lisa, I just called. I wanted to let you know that there's nothing they can do for my cancer." And I said, "What? No, no way, right?" So she's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah," she said, "it's terminal. There is no cure." Um, so all I can do is just like I can take chemo and radiation to prolong my life, but there's nothing they can do. I have probably about 6 to 9 months is what they're
Oh.
guessing on. So right away I was like, "Mom, I'm like so sorry to hear that you're sick." Um, and then when I got off the phone, I literally started crying, and because I'm a writer, I did the thing I love best. I took out my notebook and I wrote right away a 3-page letter of everything I wanted to say to my mom. And so then I it was just like I couldn't believe it, right? So
Yeah.
that was that. But now I wrote a book of my mom. Like I wrote down when my mom was sick with her cancer, her whole journey. I just wrote down everything. So I
Hmm.
actually wrote a book. I haven't like published it or anything yet. It's still waiting. But and then I also just did a children's story book. I wrote for
Yeah.
my mom as well. But it's due like as like it's in the perspective of my grandchildren, like how they would, because they
Oh,
were young
yeah.
when my mom passed away, and they were close to my mom. So I did it like kind of, it starts in their perspective, and it's how to
Hmm.
help other people cope with the death of a loved one. So I'm really excited about that one as well.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes we forget that children grieve and they're not as I mean they're aware of what's going on, but they need to have it explained to them in their
Yes,
language.
yes,
So I
it's
think that's
true.
great that you're writing that. What
Oh,
do you
thank
have the
you.
name of your mom of the book for your mom yet? Do you have that name yet or
Um, I'm not exactly sure.
okay,
Yeah, I
that's
don't have
okay.
the name yet, but yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
I read because you wrote in, I don't remember which one of the Women Like Me books, but you put that, or maybe it was the magazine. I can't remember now, Lisa, but I
Yeah.
know that I read the letter you wrote to your mom. I
Yes.
thought that was so important and so forefront with you because you just hear this devastating news about your mom,
Yeah.
and you know that time is short, you have to deal with it, but you actually put everything you wanted to say to her on paper. And I
Yes.
just thought, what a great thing to do, because as my mom died of lung cancer, so I
Oh, I'm sorry.
understand. And
Yes.
as that process is going, and you're being the caregiver and the daughter and the grandmother
Mhm.
and the mother, and all of those
Yeah.
things are happening, we forget.
True.
And
Yes.
especially if you're being a caregiver, I know my sister and I, thank goodness for my sister, we took turns caring for my mom, but it kind of erases a little bit of the daughter-mother relationship because you step into that caregiver role.
Yes, it's true. It's
Yeah,
true. And it's sad because you see how like they lose their independence and like it gets to the point they can't even have like a shower themselves. They can't cook.
yeah,
My mom had to be on oxygen, which your mom might have had to too with lung
yeah,
cancer.
yeah,
And so she couldn't be around the stove. And my mom like loved cooking and stuff. So it was really hard to see them lose their independence. And
yeah,
and I'm writing these books because a lot of people don't realize, especially the one not the children's book, but the other book, it's more teaching people like the behind the scenes, the things that you don't see when you hear of lung cancer or cancer. Like when I heard of cancer, I would never guess cancer was so drastic. Like, when you hear of it, you're scared and you hear people having it a lot, but you don't know everything that goes on. And like, I mean, I was at my mom's the night before she died and she's like, Lisa, grab me, and she just went to go down, and the next day that was it, she died. So it was like it's just
what do you
really
mean went to go
sad.
down, like she couldn't walk, like she was
She couldn't
collapsing?
walk. She went
She
to
couldn't
walk to go
walk.
to the bathroom. She had her walker, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden she's like, Lisa, you need to grab me, like I'm gonna fall. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I'm collapsing. She had no strength, and that was it. I had to catch
Hmm.
her. We sat her down, and she just, yeah. The
Yeah.
next day, she was
Oh,
the day that she passed. It was,
yeah.
kind of,
Yeah.
it's really heartbreaking when you see these things.
Absolutely. And when did you decide to write? So were you already writing your aunt's
Oh,
story before your mom got
oh,
sick?
okay. Yes, I'm glad you asked this question. Because so now I was writing my aunt's book before my mom got sick.
Okay.
So, my mom knew that. So just before she died, like the night before, she's like, Lisa, maybe you can write a book about cancer someday. And I said, Mom, you
Oh.
know something? Well, yeah, maybe I can. I said, we'll see. So that's another reason why, because that was her dying wish. And she said, tell people everything they need to know. So
Yeah.
she wanted to make a Facebook post because she had Facebook and she wanted to make a
Oh.
Facebook post, I know,
Yeah.
about telling people to like take care of themselves and that
Yeah.
sort of thing. She never had the chance. So I
Yes.
said, Mom, I'll take care of it. So yeah. And then
Oh.
8 months after, my sister passed away too of cancer of the pancreas.
Oh my
So yeah,
goodness. You have
I
just had
know.
a tough
A
go
tough.
of it, Lisa.
Yes, it's so true.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But like you
So,
said, like you have to try to stay strong for everybody else as well.
yeah.
Like, because I was a mom and a grandma and everything. But with the children's book, yeah, like I was grieving at the same time. So I'm like, okay, how do I tell these like my little grandchildren about their great grandma who they were so
Yeah.
close to, right?
Yes.
So this book is a way to, when you're grieving, you can't always think of the right words to say or that. So I kind of want this as hope and inspiration for other people to be able to maybe, know kind of the right words or how they can kind of
Yeah.
cope with it
I
if
think
that ever
that's
happens.
I think that's so I love how you've taken your pain and your tragedy and used it to educate people, to tell your mom's story, to write a children's book so people can help children through it. It's so sad when we have to go through these things, but I love just how so many people like you, like me, with my niece who passed away,
Yes.
how we can take their memories and what they went through and do our best to make sure that other people, we kind of soften it for them. We
Yes.
do what we can to help.
Yes, true,
Yeah,
true.
yeah,
And
yeah.
another thing I just started was inspirational rocks as well, and
I saw
inspirational
those.
cards. Yeah, because
Oh,
I thought, you know what, people just need encouragement, and and grief is in all different forms, right? So people sometimes grieve over different things, and not everybody always talks about what they're going through or the struggles that
yes.
they're having. So I thought inspirational rocks and cards is kind of nice too, so that it gives them a little bit of inspiration or positive, because my mom, like, she had hope, right? Until the day she died, she had hope, and she didn't give up on her hope. And that's kind of, what helped her, I think, to stay strong, because she never wanted us to worry about her. And she was so
Hmm.
strong. And yeah.
Yeah. Aw.
Mhm.
Well,
Mhm.
I think you're doing some amazing things for
Oh,
sure with
thank you.
with your sadness. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can I
Thank you.
ask you, because of course I'm all about books and you're all about
Yeah.
books as well. So how has the writing process helped you, or has it helped you?
Yes, I believe it has. I think writing is a coping mechanism for grief, because I think, like, um even now I write all the time, of course, but I think it does help, because you kind of get your feelings out on paper. And when my mom first died, I kind of was like, of course I was really upset, but then I kind of, as I went writing more, I feel like that kind of helped. Like, people are amazed because they're like, how do you do it? And I was like, I don't know, because to lose my mom and my sister 8 months after, I didn't have to take no grief counseling. I didn't have to, and I was close. Like, it was me, my mom, and my sister growing up for the
Mm,
first, like, 10 years of my life, just the three of us. And so we were like really, really close. Like, because my sister had like a lot of health problems too. So I was always there with her. And yeah, so people are like amazed to know like how I could actually cope. But my mom raised me up to pray and stuff too. So, you know, I believe that that's a big thing as well. But writing is definitely, I think, a good coping
it,
mechanism.
yeah, it's a lot of the writers that write in the Women Like Me books say how therapeutic it was to be able,
Yes, yes,
because I
it's
think
true. Very,
sometimes well, not sometimes, I think a lot of times what we do with our grief and sadness and trauma is we hold that and we hold it into our
yeah.
bodies, which can make us sick. It can
Yes, it's
cause
true.
us all sorts of depression and everything else, and
Yeah.
so there's many ways out there for people to get help and to heal, and writing might not be for everyone, but for the people
No,
that I know, and even like you've just said, is that
yeah.
writing definitely can help us.
Yes, for sure. Yes, I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Lisa, it's I'm just so thankful that you've joined the community, and I appreciate you so much in your participation and your positivity, and you jump in there when there's an opportunity, and I really love it. And Lisa is also going to be writing a chapter of her life in one of our newest books, which is going to be coming out in January 2026. So that'll
Yeah.
be exciting
Exciting.
as well. And I appreciate you doing that. I can't
Um,
wait to go
thank
through that process with you and read
you.
it.
Yeah,
So,
thank
so
you.
is there what kind of wisdom could you share with our audience before we go?
Yes. So, I can just say that always be there for them, no matter what. And when people are going through like a terminal illness, you're never, like, it's so unpredictable. You're never guaranteed time. You never know what's going to happen from one moment to the next. Sorry. When my
That's
mom
okay.
passed, even the day she was dying, I'm just going to say this one thing, sorry.
That's okay.
Just as an example, just as an example. So The day that my mom died, we were all in the room. They called the paramedic and the nurse because my mom was getting really bad. She was agitated. So when they did, the paramedic come now and he's like, "Oh, so nice to see everyone here. Usually we don't have this many people here with the family at this time." And
Oh,
I'm thinking, yeah, yeah, like what? Because I had all these different feelings, of grief, like anger, sadness, everything, because I'm upset and frustrated that all this is happening, right? So this is
mhm.
normal feelings. So I'm looking at him thinking, okay, what is he talking about? Like he's acting like my mom's gonna die or something, right? So this is I remember what I'm thinking, and I'm standing at my mom's bedside the whole time. And then after that, the nurse is like, okay, well, you can give your mom a needle and this and that. And I'm like, oh my God. Well, then next I know, like my mom was gone. And I was like, wait a minute. The paramedic, my mom was actually dying, and I didn't realize that this is what was going to happen
Oh,
because I was in denial. So,
yes.
what I want to say the most thing is um try to listen to what they say, because even that night before, my sister was texting, we were texting back and forth, and she's like, "Mom, or Lisa, I can't believe our mom is dying." And I was like, I know, but I didn't really know because I was in denial. So that's another form of grief. So when
Right.
I look back, I think, oh man, I wish I could have, maybe I was telling her I love her and telling her how strong she was, but I wish I could have gave her the okay to go and say, like, it's okay, mom, sorry, you can
That's
go on. But
okay.
I didn't, because at that point, I didn't want her to die. So in my mind, I was thinking she wasn't.
Oh,
So meanwhile,
yeah.
the paramedic knew what he was talking about,
Yeah.
right? And I didn't want to accept that.
Yes.
So if I can say that, and
Yeah.
just to like be
No.
there for them and try to keep them strong, and I let my
Yeah.
mom talk about her feelings, and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I went through something like that when my mom passed away with my baby brother, my
oh
youngest brother.
yeah,
And he just wanted to know why we weren't doing this, why we weren't doing
oh
that, and I just remember saying, I mean, she's gone. We're
yeah,
just waiting for the final moments. But
yeah,
he couldn't and he was so angry and he couldn't accept it. And so I finally said to him, because he was getting really angry, I said to you, if you want to do something different, I will support you. You go out there, you talk to the doctor, you talk to the nurses, and if they want and if you guys are in agreement, go for it. Like
yeah,
I'm not the keeper of the rules around here,
yes,
but he didn't. And but
yeah,
yeah, but just that not wanting it to let go and being in denial
yes,
of where we're
yeah.
at, of the situation. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
I
yeah, it's true, and it's weird because deep down you know it's going to happen, but then it's like you don't. So it's even hard
yeah,
to explain. Like it's a weird situation. But if anyone ever comes into that, or even if you know someone with a terminal illness, just think of embrace all possibilities, and just like it's just yeah, it
yeah.
is yeah.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you doing this, Lisa. I know I don't want to say I brought you kicking and screaming. You didn't
No,
really. You
yeah,
came you came with a smile on your face, and I appreciate
yes,
that. Yeah,
no,
and I knew that you had so much wisdom to share with the audience,
yeah,
and I appreciate you so much for doing that. We all have family that's going to pass away or has, and we all handle things differently, but I love how you've taken their memory and you're using it to educate people, to comfort them with your books, and I really appreciate that. So we're going to have all of Lisa's links to her book. In I think she just got one book now, but she's got a couple more coming, and we'll add those as she publishes them. So we're going to have that in the details section of the show notes. So you'll be able to reach out to Lisa if you wanted to, or you'll be able to get her books. I know the one book she has right now is on Amazon, but she's going to send me that link. We'll have that link in there. So, I would love it if you would support Lisa with a book purchase, and then, just if you don't personally need that book, maybe you know somebody that could really use it, and just pass that along to help comfort someone. So
oh,
thank you
thank
for
you.
doing this, Lisa. I
You're welcome.
appreciate it so much.
Oh, thank
And
you, Julie.
You're very welcome.
I'm
And
glad that you talked me
everybody,
into it.
oh, it was great. And we will
Mm.
see everybody else in the next podcast. Take care, everybody.